What is up, y'all? And welcome back to episode 17 of That's No Moon Pod. Had a lot of stuff going on this past week. Right off the bat, main topics, obviously, we had the season finale of The Last of Us, which I'll give my thoughts on that. I thought it was a great season finale. We definitely have a few thoughts about it. Just today, we got episode 3 of The Mandalorian of season 3. Definitely have some thoughts about the newest episode of Mandalorian. We also got episode 13 of The Bad Batch season 2. And if we have time, I'll give my quick little review of that episode, which I really dug. And something that's kind of, I don't know, I want to say slip under the radar, but there was some crazy reports from the news and coming from Pentagon officials saying how there could possibly be a mothership of some sort somewhere in space outside of our atmosphere that could be sending probes down onto Earth to kind of monitor and keep an eye out on what's going on. And I feel like that news story kind of just, like I said, was under the radar during the week. But I definitely have some thoughts on that and kind of want to give my insight on what I think all that's about as well. I think those are like the main topics I really wanted to get into in this video. I know a lot of stuff has been a little slow recently with the whole UFO and UFO Twitter kind of topics lately, especially after that crazy week we just got over with the military shooting down Chinese spy balloons and a whole bunch of other stuff that we still don't know fully what exactly was shot down over in Alaska, Canada, and Lake Huron. But yeah, just this whole thing of Pentagon officials coming out and publicly stating that there could possibly be some sort of mothership outside of our atmosphere that is just kind of either passing by through outer space, flying at a high rate of speed, and they described it kind of as like a dandelion seed. Just kind of how one trails off and floats off somewhere to kind of do its own thing. For that to be something made public from the Pentagon and reported on all sorts of different news websites and on TV as well, I still feel like that should have been bigger news than kind of what it's been. I think if you're heavily involved within the topic of UFOs and UAPs and anything to do with that sort of topic online, you probably know or may have heard of this story recently, especially after Jeremy Corbell came out with his latest podcast episode of Weaponized, where he was actually on TV talking about it, and him kind of giving his thoughts on exactly what that could possibly mean. If you ask me, I'd say that it's not only a possibility that there could be some sort of mothership outside of Earth, but who's to say that they're not flying around inside our planet and kind of maneuvering in a way that we can't fully comprehend, to where, we just can't see them when they could be right there in our sky at any time. I think for sure there's been probes or some kind of drones released from some sort of bigger ship, and they kind of do their thing with their time down here. Who knows exactly what they're doing or what they could be looking for. I know they had said that it's kind of like what we do with NASA, and how we will send some kind of robot drone to Mars, or just send it out into outer space hoping to find something of intelligence, or kind of just monitor exactly what's going on out there. This is just kind of their way of how we do that with our robotics and drones here on Earth. Those kind of thoughts to be made public, though, like I said, it's a pretty big deal if you ask me. I think they wouldn't just come out and say that if they didn't fully have some kind of awareness of there actually being some type of proof, just to make that like that kind of claim just doesn't slip out, especially from the Pentagon. But yeah, I think there's no doubt that that's more than a possibility. I think if that were to be the case, who's to say that, one of these things could possibly get shot down by one of our military aircrafts, spotting it on our radars, seeing it with their own eyes, and maybe every now and again we come across these things and are forced to shoot them down because they're flying in our airspace. I think it makes a lot of logical sense to assume that. And I think not only is it possible, but I think it's more than likely that's kind of what's been going on lately with the whole UFO, UAP phenomena. But I also think there's more to it. I think it goes way deeper than what a lot of people could imagine. I think that's kind of the point of it. Otherwise, I feel like we'd probably know a lot more about what exactly is going on. But I mean, until we actually get full disclosure, we'll still be kind of running around in circles. But I think if you know, and it's just a matter of time before the big reveal kind of gets put right in front of us. And I think it would be just a cool kind of experience to be a part of, and just the possibilities that comes with it. I think this is just another step into the right direction for just this topic to finally be taken seriously. And yeah, that was kind of something I just wanted to give my quick thoughts on. That was definitely something that I felt was deserving of a kind of a bigger headline in the news, but it's whatever. We'll take it. Um, and I guess I'll transition into The Last of Us season finale. This episode of The Last of Us really kind of left me feeling some type of way with not just Joel, but I mean, just right how the episode starts, you get Joel and Ellie, and Ellie's completely traumatized from what she had just experienced with that David dude. I mean, here she is. She just narrowly escapes getting assaulted, chopped up, and kind of just, who knows what that dude was planning on doing with Ellie. And she just barely escapes it, having to stab this dude multiple times, and um, all the things that she's gone through up to this point, not only with Joel, but even before that. Um, it's all kind of, it came full steam ahead, and it was almost to her breaking point, almost, for being, so young, and everything that she's already been through within her life from the start. From when she was born, we see, how her mom gave birth to her and was pretty much raised from right from the womb, by Marlene, and just kind of the crazy life that Ellie had lived. And we see Joel now, and how he's kind of just fully accepted his purpose with Ellie, and how he's just trying to cheer her up, and make sure she still has a clear mind on what they got to do, and he wants what's best for her. Or at least that's what we're led to believe in the beginning, but later on we see kind of Joel takes things into his own hands. But I really liked how they kind of make you decide whether or not, like, did Joel do the right thing with Ellie, taking her from the doctors to where, if they could have gotten the cure, would her life have been worth all of it? And, to Joel, that's an obvious no, because she's his purpose, and he can't bear to lose another daughter in his life. He's lost everything, just like a lot of other people have, but, in his mind, she's worth, everything at this point. And I feel like I'm more on Joel's side than I was with the Fireflies and Marlene, because at the same time they didn't really give Ellie a choice on exactly what to do with her life. They kind of just told her, everything will be okay with the surgery, and not necessarily letting her know that she's probably gonna die. I liked how the scene where Joel escapes from the Fireflies escorting him out. Just that whole scene of him going just full on, Frank Castle, It was like the Punisher just walking down his enemies and just being one step ahead and just a better shot overall than what is in front of him. Just with the music and how you could just feel the intensity and the drive that Joel was going through in that moment. Just he's got to get to Ellie as fast as he can, and whoever's in front of him is getting capped. And come to find out later on, we see finally once he finds Ellie and he grabs her and gets her out of there. Just the choices that he makes right at the end of the episode just really make you conflicted with Joel as a person. Just how he kind of gets rid of Marlene and takes her out because he knows that she'll come looking for her. And just how he lies to Ellie and makes up a story of how exactly they got out of there and what went down, but she knows that he's lying to her, but still kind of accepts it for what it is for the time being. And we gotta wait and see until season 2 and exactly what happens next, because I never played the games, and from this point on I don't think I have any intention on playing The Last of Us 2, because I kind of just want to see how the story plays out on TV. It's going to be hard to stay away from spoilers until season 2 comes out, but I'm going to definitely do my best. But hats off to the whole cast and crew on The Last of Us. The show was awesome. Definitely going to miss it. Everyone killed it though. And from there, let's get right into Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3. Just watched this today. And just the way this episode started with Mando, Bo-Katan, right from getting out of the waters and in Mandalore, and right away you see kind of the dynamic between Bo-Katan and Mando, and how she's still kind of plotting on the low. She's asking him if he saw anything alive down there in the water, and he says no, but she definitely saw the mythosaur. So she's kind of keeping that close to the chest, away from Din. And right away, once they start flying away from Mandalore, the whole TIE fighter chase scene, and then up until they have like their little space battle outside of Mandalore, it just threw you back into some old school prequel type space battles. Just classic Star Wars feel to it. Just the way they're flying around, dodging their blasters, and kind of just the way they shoot the scenes where you see the TIE fighters inside the cockpit, and just how smart Din and Bo-Katan are from once Mando finally gets to his ship, and you kind of see them both kind of duking it out with the TIE fighters and just outsmarting them. And I just love the way this episode opened up. A lot of TIE fighters coming out of nowhere definitely got me thinking exactly where they could have come from. Could be Moff Gideon. Could be Thrawn somewhere. I don't know exactly that would make any sense, but a lot of TIE fighters came out of nowhere, and it seemed like they could have had some kind of intel on exactly what was going on or where Mando and Bo-Katan were. So, I mean, until we get some clarity on exactly what's going on, I mean, your guess is as good as mine exactly where those TIE fighters came from, but just love the way the episode opened up with that chase scene. And then the episode kind of goes into a Andor type feel to it with Dr. Pershing and kind of what exactly he's been going through after the whole deal with him and Grogu, and what exactly we see from him after all that took place in season 1 and 2. He still wants to do the right thing with cloning. If you remember, he never really wanted to hurt Grogu. He just wanted to do the tests, it seemed like. So, we all know that Dr. Pershing is a good guy. And it just seems like he kind of follows orders too quickly, and maybe it gets him in a lot of trouble, as we see in this episode. I forget what her name is, but she was with Moff Gideon in season 2, kind of following his footsteps and kind of just being, not a good person, in the galaxy. Just from what we see from her later on, how she kind of just straight up betrays Pershing into getting into trouble, stealing these clone equipment from the Imperial starfighter, and she just rats him out because she's working for the New Republic, which is pretty much the new empire now at this point on Coruscant, which was cool to see Coruscant kind of explored in that way. It's always a cool planet just to see in live action. But I know there's a lot of people that are kind of already complaining of this episode and how it was a little bit slow paced and could have been maybe cut up a little bit better. And I would kind of agree in some sort, because, I mean, unless this whole Dr. Pershing storyline that we got for the majority of this episode, unless it's kind of like a plot point that deals with this season of Mandalorian going forward, and it's not kind of like a story point to kind of help out the sequel trilogy with Snoke and how Palpatine ended up coming back and trying to clone himself and all that. As long as this storyline fulfills the plot for the Mandalorian storyline and not just to kind of improve on the sequel trilogy story, I think if it eventually kind of leads to it being like that, then I wouldn't mind this episode. But I definitely see where people could say you could have cut a little bit off of the whole storyline and we could have gotten a little bit deeper into Mando and Bo-Katan and Grogu. That's the only thing I guess I would say. But once we get through the whole Dr. Pershing storyline and the last 10 minutes are of Bo and Mando, they go back to where Mando's clan was, just so he could say, I bathed in the waters, I'm good. He gives them the proof of the water, and they accept him back into the clan. And not only do they accept him back in the clan, but they accept Bo-Katan back, or they just accept her because she also bathed in the waters when she saved Mando. But then once they kind of, induct her into the clan, everyone's kind of greeting her and patting her on the back, but she's looking at that mythosaur skull on the wall, and she's still thinking about it. She's still plotting. And I think she's going to be kind of like, playing the game with the whole Mandalorian clan, but deep down she knows what she really wants to do. So I don't know if they're really trying to set Bo-Katan up as being the main bad in this season, but if they are, I think it would be a pretty cool rivalry between her and Mando, and kind of see what exactly the story is going forward. I think next week's episode is directed by Dave Filoni, so I think for sure something crazy is probably going to happen next week in Mando. I think this is one of those episodes where it's definitely not going to be anyone's favorite episode, but I'm hoping hopefully it kind of leads us into a bigger storyline going forward, and it's not just kind of some sort of plot point to kind of help out the sequel trilogy somehow. But yeah, still a good episode. I still enjoyed it for what it was. And real quick, I gotta talk about the Bad Batch episode 13. Season 2 of the Bad Batch, I think, has been really consistent and really fun. More so than season 1, in my opinion. I just think every episode has been well done. Not exactly game changers within Star Wars, but I still think for what this season has been of the Bad Batch, that it's been an enjoyment to watch. Even this one, a simple storyline where they go onto a planet for kind of just to rest up and relax and kind of give Omega a chance to hang out with some people other than the Batch, and they get to kind of wind down for a second. But of course, something goes down and they gotta kind of help out the village on the planet and rescue them from this crazy wave tide that destroys their village. But it was cool to see the Bad Batch kind of get like a little vacation home, a little place to chill out instead of just always flying in their ship, going from mission to mission with Sid, who Sid is definitely probably going to be the one to really get the Batch into trouble later on once we get closer. Well, I believe we only have a couple more episodes left of the Bad Batch, so something big's probably going to happen with Sid. She's probably going to try to get the Batch into trouble and, cause something to happen. But really enjoyed the episode of the Bad Batch. They've been on a good run this year. And yeah, just a lot of cool stuff been going on lately. I'm glad that we still have Bad Batch and Mando now that Last of Us has just ended. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming out lately. Just a good time to be a Star Wars fan, and just a fan of these types of properties in general. And yeah, that's pretty much everything I really wanted to talk about this week. A lot of cool stuff. I want to thank whoever is listening to this right now, and thank you for tuning in. You can follow me on Instagram at AdmireMyMoonSalt. You can follow me on Twitch at AdmireMyMoonSalt as well. If you like comic books, I post comic books every day on my Instagram with the variant covers and kind of just giving people a starting point to jump into comic books if you always kind of wanting to get into them and don't know exactly where to start from, what exactly is new and just came out. I got you on my Instagram. So go and follow me on there. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have anything, suggestions on what you want me to talk about, or just some constructive criticisms overall, just let me know. I'm always trying to improve on this and kind of just getting more comfortable with doing this every week. But I'm enjoying it. I'm going to keep doing it. Hopefully, y'all stick around. And yeah, just thank you all for tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's week. Y'all stay safe. And I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.